Hey howdy, hey partners, today we have a Buzz Lightyear mod. Let's get into it.
Reach for the sky!
You're watching Today I Grew Up.
To infinity and beyond!
Here we are back again to do another mod for Buzz Lightyear. This time it's going to be a little bit more interesting. I want to get a clearer helmet for this Buzz. It's my limited edition Disney store. Originally it was a lot more foggy, and I found one at the Disney store for a regular Buzz back then, back in 2019, 2020, around that time. And then I realized that it's still not completely clear as much as the new JCPenney one that I saw. And so I did this for a friend already, and I thought I got to do it for my Buzz because it's just crystal clear. And if you go to the store and hand pick it yourself, you'll be able to get a clearer one because not all of them are the same clear, so you have to kind of eye them. I found this at my JCPenney Disney store section. It was on sale for $21, so I thought why not get that clear helmet. Here's a little before comparison so you can just see now that he's out of the box just how much clearer that helmet is here on the JCPenney. I don't know, for some reason it's just the clearest helmet I've ever seen on a Buzz. If you're having a Disney store Buzz at home and maybe you need a replacement, you can get this JCPenney one and do what I do to make it look good as new. Step one is I'm going to remove the helmet from this JCPenney Buzz. You're going to have to get a screwdriver. Normally this is how you would pull it off to replace the batteries. After removing the compartment, the next step is to unscrew these screws right here. To open up Buzz, we need to get this head compartment off. We're going to separate Buzz Lightyear. Also use some tools like I do here to just kind of separate it. I forgot to mention when doing this, his arm does tend to get loose because that joint gets pulled apart. It's no problem because you can always put Buzz's arm back in and slide it out so we can remove him from the body just like that. You can see that it still actually works without the body, the whoosh thing. One of the hardest parts about this mod is dealing with this little spring, and I'll show you why, because that's the most annoying part, as well as a spring mechanism in this side. And so what we're going to do here is unscrew this one and these two up here. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now that those screws are removed, basically you're going to have a spring here and a spring on this side. And let's see what I can do without really messing this up so you guys can see. We'll start with this spring right here. It's going to come right out. So on this right side, a little spring flew out. You want to save the spring because we need that for our button switch. And it's on the limited edition Disney Store Buzz as well. Right now, we're going to pull that off so you can see here. And what's really interesting on this side is there is a spring system that you just saw got to unlatch there. It's got a little button right here. You pull that out. It's basically spring loaded there. And you want to kind of, it can fall off, so just note how it's placed on there, the little metal piece going underneath there, and it keeps popping up, but it tends to do that for sure. Everything's pretty much removed. You can just see on here it's just loose, so what you want to do is you want to press with your finger in. Basically what you do is you pull down, then you pull that loose. Once you pull that side loose, you can get the other side a little easier. There we go. This part right here, it is unfortunately glued. I tried putting it in boiling water before and I was having a lot of trouble. This doesn't look glued though. This does look glued right here. Not as bad as other ones that I've seen. So let's see if I can just pop it out with my screwdriver and get that loose without actual damage. Because what I did in the past, which I don't always recommend, is you have to pull it really hard with your hands. But doing that, you create stress marks sometimes that are visible. I had to end up pulling it, which is fine. This one actually wasn't glued that bad, neither was this. This side was glued pretty bad, so it created a stress mark right there. Now, that's not the worst thing in the world, because once it actually sits in to the new body of the other one, it'll barely show, you know, it'll probably look like that. Alright, so now it's time to put the other JCPenney Buzz aside for now. I need to now remove the helmet off of this Disney Store Buzz, which I will not show because I just showed you how to take it off on the JCPenney. It's the same process on this one. We have here on the limited edition Disney Store version is there's only 2 screws instead of 4, so it's a lot easier actually than what we get on the JCPenney Buzz. So we actually want to put the front part of the helmet on first, but before I do that, I just kind of want to see if my stress mark is going to show in the back. So I'm just kind of doing a test here before I actually put the helmet back on properly, but I wanted to show you that the stress mark, even if you have one, shouldn't look too bad. It hides really well, and as I tested it out, looks good. You can barely tell it's there. It's in the back, and I am not disappointed with the result there. Now, you don't have to glue it back or anything. You just kind of have to snap it in place. So you can actually remove it pretty easy now that it's been removed, because it's not glued down anymore. So make sure the sharp pieces of the front helmet are facing down. That's how you know it's facing the right direction. Yes, there is a wrong and right way. So you want to have those sharp pieces down. That's how you know that the front part of the helmet is correct for the placement, and you want to put it on. But I need to take the back part off first, because otherwise I can't do it. And I recommend putting the front part on first, and make sure you squeeze it in there on the sides and make sure it is closing properly. And then we're going to get the back compartment and snap it in. Very easy to do underneath the front part of it. So just take a little bit of time and patience, and you'll be able to nail it down. Alright, so the next part of the helmet is the springs and putting these mechanisms back together. So the left side is actually the trigger button for the whoosh feature, and the right side will be the regular button with the wounded spring. So I'm just kind of lining things up here to see that I'm making sure I'm lining it up correctly, like I just explained. And this one only has 2 screws, so it's a lot easier to manage. The JCPenney had 4 screws, which I think was too many screws in my opinion. So let's get into the trigger button. It has 2 different pieces there, and that's going to be for that trigger, which then connects to a little tiny spring, which is very, very small. You don't want to lose it. I've dropped it many times. See, it connects there at the end. So what you want to do is drop the spring into the little compartment. I put my finger underneath it so it doesn't escape, and then I point the little pointy part into the spring right on the side there. It is very hard to do, but once you get it in there, you can see that the spring is not going anywhere. You can move your hand and it should be resting against that plastic piece, and then you can kind of put it together. It's very, very hard to do, but with patience and time, you could pull it off. And then I line it up, make sure that it's going to work for us, and then I am going to make sure that it snaps in place. It's very, very hard to do, but I got it in after several attempts. You won't get it on the first try. And then the right side, I got to figure out how to get that wounded spring on. So you just have to make sure that the bottom of this metal wire here goes underneath the plastic like that, and then you have the spring wounded on top. That is what's going to go on the right side of Buzz. You can see there's a kind of a clear cylinder. That's where you want the spring to go around. And of course I'm dropping the spring already again because it's really hard to do. And then I'm going to carefully just kind of wedge it in here. There's no nicer way to do it. You just kind of have to go for it, hold it in place at the same time. And what I'm going to do is kind of spin it a little bit. You know, you can do it clockwise or counterclockwise, kind of just to fit it in. And I'm going to screw the left side in so I don't have to pinch it the whole time. Otherwise my fingers get tired there just holding down that side. So I'm going to screw that side down, and then I could still work on the right side for the spring, so I don't have to worry about the other spring coming out. So here you can see that this is the process. You just kind of have to spin that little purple knob on the right side just to make sure the tension starts winding. You'll start feeling the helmet move in terms of it springs back or forward. If it's loose, keep trying to wind it until you get that action going. As you can see, I got it down, and I knew I did a good job because when you press the trigger, the spring works once again. I'm very happy with this. Wow, it looks so good. JCPenney clear helmet looks so nice, and the Divine Child head combo, it just looks brand new. You know, the old one was pretty scratched up and old. The electronics were not affected by this. As you can see, I tested everything to make sure it works. It does. And now Buzz's helmet looks just like new and it works. So I'm very happy with it. Do I recommend this mod? No, unless you know what you're doing. You could follow this tutorial step by step. It will work for you. Just be really patient, and it's going to take a lot of time and practice and patience. As always, partners, thank you so much for watching, liking, and commenting on these videos. It really helps support what I do here on YouTube. If you'd like to continue to support me on this journey, all you have to do is hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're alerted for future videos on this channel, and I'll see you partners on the next video review.
You weren't the real Buzz Lightyear. You're an action figure.
You are a sad, strange little man. You are a sad, strange little man.
You are a child's plaything.
Hey, Ham, look, I'm Picasso.
I don't get it.